Burning Rubber is social. Follow us on X at twitter.com/BRR_radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
All right, time for another gas and go on the whole thing Burning Rubber Radio. And this time, a little bit of a change up. We're not going to have a recipe for you this week, folks. John had to go work in a lumber yard over at Lowe's today, from what I heard, Zach. So we're joined by the one and only social media girl for Burning Rubber and Mr. Zachary Murders. Good God, Zach, quit waving like a fanboy.
No.
Folks, if you could see us off the air when we're getting ready to tape these segments, bloopers galore. Just going to say that right now. And but either which way here, folks, back at you with another gas and go for the week here. We're just going to hit you with all of the top headlines as far as everything you've seen on Burning Rubber's Facebook, social media pages, as well as other interesting things to get ready for COTA for this weekend coming up. Circuit of the Americas for the NASCAR Cup Series as well as the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And Zach, we're going to hit it off right off the rip here. Riley Herbst has officially announced that he will run 4 different races for the JGR number 19 and the Xfinity Series this season. His first one coming up this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. I don't know. Herbst is starting to show a little bit more talent, in my opinion, but I'm still a little iffy on him.
Look, there's still the memes that the man can't win a race. But I think Sheldon Creed holds on to those memes a little bit better.
I'll give you that.
Herbst is coming into his own. You gotta give him a little bit of credit. He's coming into his own. He just got into the Cup Series. He's doing his thing, you know? Give him a little time. Yeah. And now that he is switching over to Toyota.
But see, at that point, though, if we're talking memes that he can't win a race, he's virtually a younger version of Bubba Wallace.
Not really.
I mean, technically, yeah, because once Bubba got into the Cup Series, he wasn't doing jack crap. And
I mean, took Chase how many years to get his first win? He was a Cup Series rookie in 2016. Took him 2 years, 2018. Yeah. Kyle Larson was a Cup Series rookie in 2014. Didn't win his first race till 2016.
But look at Wallace, though. It took him 7 years before he won his first race.
When was the last time you saw a Richard Petty Motorsports car win a race?
But still, the point still proves itself is that at the time, RPM was still a decent quality car. It might not have been a Hendrick or a Gibbs or a Penske, but still had some decent equipment. Again, back then with the Gen 6, it was all about the driver more so than it was about the car. And Bubba Wallace back then, and still really to this day, I'm holding true on it until he finds a way to prove me wrong, has no talent when it comes to the Cup Series. Xfinity, trucks, he was great. Herbst, I feel, is in kind of that same transitional boat right now, where as far as Xfinity goes, you know, he's had 3 seasons, hasn't really done much in the Xfinity Series except for a couple of top 5 finishes. And I fear
Herbst won Indy last year.
Well, okay, there you go. But even then, that was in his 3rd season. Wallace has had 7. Actually, no, at this point, almost 9. And has only won how many races? 2. So Herbst has a leg up, in my opinion, on Bubba Wallace, but we'll see what happens with his runs in the JGR number 19 on the Xfinity side of things, and see how better he fares over in Cup the rest of the season. Time will tell. I mean,
let's just make sure NASCAR knows which layout they're using this weekend. Have you not seen what's going on?
I heard something about the long back straightaway in COTA as far as like turns 15 through 17, and some kind of weird issue going on there.
So it's let's see if I can explain this correctly. So NASCAR announced that they switched the layout, and then they've been posting on social media that there's some new additions coming, like there was some repaving going on. And then the ticket holders, when they got their ticket and they got their look at the track map, there was a slight alteration to the layout, like a different hairpin, like going into the West Bend. there would be a hairpin before the West Bend.
And the West Bend being turn 12, if I remember correctly.
Okay, there's the S's, and they're turning after the S's.
Lord,
to go into the bend.
He's sitting here figuring up turn numbers, folks. We're not going to worry about it. But yeah, new layout for COTA this weekend. Honestly.
All I know is that there were small alterations on the ticket, and it confused a lot of fans.
It'll prove interesting. We'll keep up to date on that story throughout the weekend, folks. If we see anything breaking, obviously you'll see it on our Facebook page as well as our X and our Instagram. So do be on the lookout for that here, though. Moving along now, and the next story to talk about here, and now this is one kid that I know has a really good chance to do some stuff, and that being one Connor Zilic, who this weekend is going to make his first Cup start at COTA in the number 87 Trackhouse Chevrolet. And Zilic has already been a winner in late models. He's been a winner in ARCA. He's been a top finisher already in Xfinity with very little experience. I have a feeling he stands a good shot at COTA this weekend.
It's a strong possibility. He's got a lot of good potential.
A lot of potential. Now, on top of that, he's going to have some stiff competition, folks like Kyle Larson, folks like Shane Van Gisbergen. He's going to have some stiff competition. But I have a pretty strong feeling. I'm not going to call him my pick to win, but I'm going to say Connor Zilic is going to do something really, really exceptional this weekend.
Well, let's remember when Connor Zilic made his Truck Series debut, qualified on the pole for his first start. Mm-hmm. And what track was that at? Circuit of the Americas.
Yep.
He's a road course ace. I'll give him that. Mm-hmm. He hasn't had the best of luck at Atlanta and Daytona in the first two races of the season, the Xfinity Series, but two super speedways to start a season out. A lot of people don't like that. It's not necessarily indicative of pace.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. We'll just have to I think we'll just have to wait and see what happens and just kind of play it by ear at that point here. But real quick rundown of the point series or the point standings for everybody as well too. As everybody knows, it's only NASCAR and the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series this weekend. At Circuit of the Americas, Truck Series has the weekend off. So after 2 of 25 races, Corey Heim sits on top of the point standings. Grant Enfinger 36 ahead as far as playoff contention is concerned. Ty Majeski in third. Chandler Smith fourth. Ben Rhodes rounds out the top 5. And then the rookie, Gio Ruggiero, is sitting in 6th. Stuart Friesen, after a great showing at Atlanta this past weekend, is 7th. Daniel Hemrick 8th. Jake Garcia, which is a not so well-known name as far as the Truck Series is concerned, sitting in 9th. And another very well-known name in Jack Wood rounds out the top 10 as far as the Truck Series. For the Xfinity Series, Austin Hill, after his big win this past weekend in Atlanta, sits on top and has a win to his name as well. Jesse Love, after Daytona, has a great win under his belt as well, sitting second.
Those RCR cars, man.
They're something, aren't they?
ECR engines at plate tracks, or super speedways. No plates anymore.
Well, technically, tapered spacers, same damn thing as a freaking restrictor plate, but I'm just saying. Sheldon
They're just bigger.
I mean, technically, the plate is bigger, but either way. But Sheldon Creed sits third. Justin Allgaier sits fourth. And I look forward to seeing him do more with JRM in the Cup Series coming up later this season, too, if that is possible. Jeb Burton rounds out the top 5. Harrison Burton, his brother, or excuse me, not his brother, his cousin, rather, I think. No.
Nephew,
that's right. Harrison Burton, the nephew of Jeb Burton, sitting in 6th. Jeremy Clements in 7th. Sam Mayer in 8th. Carson Kvapil, great to see that young man doing good things already. Sitting in 9th. And rounding out the top 10, another good friend of the show in Matty D. Matt DiBenedetto. And then, of course, playoff grids now looking after Atlanta and the M Better Health 400 for the Cup Series. William Byron got his win at Daytona, so he's still sitting on top of the charts. Christopher Bell with his win at Atlanta comes in 2nd. Ryan Blaney 3rd. Tyler Reddick 4th. Cendric rounds out the top 5. And amazingly, as much crap as I give this guy, Bubba Wallace sitting in 6th right now. Kyle Larson 7th. John Hunter Nemechek in 8th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 9th. And Alex Bowman, the showman, rounds out the top 10 as far as the points are concerned. And I don't know, Zach. I mean, like I said, we're going into COTA this weekend. We've got this new layout. We've got points that have already been shaken up numerous times between the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. So I don't know. I'm going to reserve making a pick this weekend just because I have a feeling Zilich is going to do great. I know SVG is going to be on par because, again, he comes from the supercars and COTA is nothing unfamiliar to him. So I feel like he's going to do really well there, just like Zilich is. But we could see Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott do something as well, knowing that they're road course aces too.
Cup Series has a lot of road course ringers, and Larson's a good all-round driver. Chase is a really good road course ringer. He's been a little lackluster lately, so I don't know if I'm going to pick Chase to win, but I do think we're going to have a Cup Series regular shake things up in the Xfinity Series, or I don't know. You know what? Zilich to win Xfinity, SVG to win COTA. I want to see a Chevy in victory lane. I'm biased though.
I mean, you might be biased, but you know what? I know somebody else who is equally as biased as well, and we're going to go sit and we're going to talk to him here for a second, that being the motorsports enthusiast, John Dodridges. John, we need you to take it away with picks for the week, sir.
This is John, the motorsports enthusiast, back with my weekly picks. Let's recap Atlanta really quick, man. Ross Chastain was up at the front at that last restart, and so was William Byron before he got wrecked. So 2 solid picks there. AJ wasn't a factor all day long. I'm going to pick my drivers this week for Circuit of the Americas, though. So looking at this track, it's a road course. It's our 4th time here in the next-gen era. I'm very excited to see Connor Zilich perform as well as SVG, but there's a couple other drivers that I think have extreme value comparatively to others. I'm going to give my top 3 pick, my top 5 pick, and my pick to win. Looking at my top 5 pick, I'm going to go with a driver that I picked to finish in the top 3 last week, Willie B himself. 3 starts here, 1 win, 2 top 5s. This driver has led the most laps out of anybody here at COTA. I think Willie B is an absolute lock for a top 5. Looking at my top 3 pick, I've gone back and forth between my top 3 and my winning pick, but I'm going to go with Mr. Ross Chastain. I picked him to win last week, and I think he could have very well won. I think he has a great chance of winning this week, but there's one driver that I'm looking at that surpasses him. I'll talk about him in a second, but with Ross, 3 races, 1 win, 2 top 5s, very similar to William Byron, but has an average finish of 4th. So lock Ross in for that top 3. Now, the driver that I think will win this weekend in COTA and is one of the only drivers that has 2 top 5 finishes and hasn't won a race yet, actually has the highest average finish among current active NASCAR Cup Series drivers at COTA, and that's Alex Bowman with an average finish of 3rd. Yes, the average finish of 3rd. He hasn't finished outside of the top 5, so if you want to be safe, put money on Alex Bowman to finish in the top 5. He's finished 4th or better every single time here. And he's the only driver that does not have a win that has at least 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s at COTA. So my picks this week are Alex Bowman to get the dub for Hendrick Motorsports, Ross Chastain to finish in the top 3, and Willie B to finish in the top 5. Like I always say, don't bet the house, don't bet the 401k. This is not financial advice. Don't risk with more than what you're willing to lose. And all I gotta say is, let's go Willie B, let's go Chastain, and Bowman, let's go get that win.
All right, Zach. So I gotta wonder. He's going Chastain and then Alex Bowman to pull off the Dubski. I fear that might be a crazy pick.
It's nothing out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, potentially.
Who remembers, what was it? 2022? Allmendinger, Chastain, and Bowman going for it.
This is true.
It's nothing, out of the park. And before we sign off here, quick news that just came across my feed. To deter drivers from going outside track limits, in the corners, NASCAR has put down 400-pound blocks right there on the track limits to prevent drivers from going over it.
Good God.
400 pounds. Imagine if one of them hits it head on. Like, I don't think people totally understand how track limits are completely bulldozed by drivers often. And to put a 400-pound block in an open space where there is also runoff for if there's a wreck, that just screams pandemonium to me.
Yeah, it does. It 100% does, because even if a driver is not intentionally trying to go across a different side of the track, if they end up going off into that runoff and they end up smacking that barricade,
that's a heavy hit.
That's going to destroy that race car.
Absolutely, it will.
And
I mean,
and God forbid something else go wrong with that race car after it makes that contact, you could potentially injure that driver.
That you could. And I'm not usually super critical of NASCAR, but sausage curbs aren't exactly a great way to prevent track limits. I know there's been a lot of people really angry about those in the late months, but I don't think a singular, huge, concrete block, or it's not concrete, excuse me, just a big block is going to prevent track limits. Do we not remember 2018 at the Roval? That was not a great weekend. I still see the images of Bubba Wallace smacking that thing head on and just going flying through the air. I think Christopher Bell or Eric Jones hit it too.
Chase Elliott hit it too.
That was 2019.
But still, regardless, he still hit that barricade too.
In 2019, in turn 1 on the restart, the Tums heartburn turn, we're talking about backstretch chicane. Before they changed it in 2019. The first iteration of the Roval had that 2018 backstretch chicane nightmare. They had to remove those barriers before the weekend was even over. And personally, I think if someone hits that thing today in Xfinity Series practice or qualifying, or practice tomorrow for the Cup Series, they'll end up removing it. Bet on it.
That, or they're going to keep it and just see how much.
Move it back.
Either move it back or just see how much they're going to piss every driver off by leaving it in the same spot. But time will tell. But we're going to wrap up this Gas and Go for the week here, folks. For Zachary Murders and producer Wayne. Enjoy the video this week on our Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, and X pages. And make sure you subscribe to the Rumble, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channels on YouTube and Rumble, and follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. And until next week, folks, on Monday, when we come back from COTA wrap-up for post-race, we will see you then. But for now, ta-ta.